a little bit of a different. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So we are live. Hi, everyone. We can get started.
Okay, it would be nice to know who Monica and Maria Danton are. And then I need to also open the chat at some point. And then I will do some share. I prepared an updated PowerPoint just in case some people will be.
Ah, okay. Sure. Because I don't know if we have the same people who have been at the previous time.
Which is why it's updated. Just to make sure that, you know, the people that don't know me, I mean, for them, it will not make any difference. And it's adapt. I mean, it's not the same. It just, you will see. It has the similar things, and then we'll see. And Chantal is from the Gers, and I've known Chantal for over 35 years. We met in New York City back, you know.
Back then.
Chantal, I would like you to meet Limor.
Hello, Limor.
Hi, Chantal. How are you? Very nice to meet you.
Very fine. And you?
Okay, we have Charlotte joining.
Well, where are you based right now?
Chantal, Limor asked you where you're based.
I'm based in France, in the Gers, southwest of France, between Bordeaux and Toulouse, right in the middle.
It's known for very good food.
Yes, and good lifestyle, good quality of life.
I'm sure also good wine.
Good wine, foie gras, duck, good duck.
Ladies, chicken. I'm not sure if you're there or not. So those of you who, it would be nice just if you could open your camera so at least we know you are there. Or make a sign if you don't want to show your face, make a sign that you are there.
They're all blank. that means okay.
Well, Lily, I know because she was just fixing something, but the other three ladies, hello from Kentucky. This is from Maria, okay.
Wonderful.
Then we have Charlotte, okay, from UK. I will definitely ask everybody at some point to introduce themselves. Just want to make sure before we get started that we have some people behind the screen. Okay, Limor, I guess we're going to do it because it's 8:06. The floor is yours, my friend. Heidi, why am I not surprised? Heidi, good morning, good afternoon.
Why are you not surprised? It was the between calling. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Goeiedag, bonjour.
I was hoping you will put your camera on. Now, Heidi is also a friend from Prague, but where are you again in the States at the moment?
I'm in Indianapolis.
So I kind of gathered my, group. Okay, so let's get started, and then.
And we just got home, Karin. So I almost debated because Karin and I go a long way back, and I was debating, do I sign on and I have to hear it? I'm not surprised, which usually when I'm with my husband, you would be surprised. But I'm like, I really didn't want to miss this session with all of you. So
we appreciate it. Limor is desperate to get started.
Thank you so much, Heidi, for joining today.
Yeah, happy to see you.
So, Karin, how do you want to get started? I guess
you do a short introduction, and then I'll do my little show.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Limor. I am based in Israel. I created and leading the mentorship program at Power to Fly to support women in their career growth by matching them with amazing mentors like Karin. And my background is actually engineering. I ran engineering teams and organizations for many years. I was living in the US and I returned here just before the pandemic. So nice to meet you all. And Karin, please introduce yourself to the audience. Some of you may not know you.
I will. Now, of course, I thought I had my PowerPoints. It's somewhere there. How do I find this? Yeah. I had prepared this file. It's on my screen. Okay, so let's see if I can figure it out from here. Basic, yes. Okay, this is the first thing. How does it work? Oh, here. Yeah, so the agenda is going to be, I would like to ask each one of you to introduce yourself. So the first thing is, before we start the show, it's like, for everybody to be comfortable, it would be really nice if you could put in the chat, some of you did it, who are you, meaning your name and where you're located. Because I understand we have, Limor who is in Israel, Chantal who is in France, Leila, Lily who is in Prague, Heidi who is Indianapolis, and we have the UK, we have different ladies. So, and then the other thing, since we're all kind of far away, if you could just put on a scale from 1 to 10, how are you today? How do you feel? And then Limor, can you check the chat? Because I cannot check the chat.
So you want,
of course, I don't see.
You want name?
On the chat, it would be nice if you put your first name, your location, and on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you feel today? 1 being not so great, and 10 being on top of the world. And if Limor can check the chat, it would be great. So I can, because I don't know if I can see it by doing both of it.
Okay, I said, and Maria from Kentucky said she feels 8, and Heidi said she feels 8. From UK was.
Because today will be more, hopefully, an interaction. I'm just going to show you a couple of slides, and then I would like to have a discussion, based on the slide I will show you. So quickly, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Karin. I'd like to introduce myself as a European citizen with a French passport who has been living in Prague for the past 26 years now. This is where I met Heidi. And I am a leadership executive coach who also practices mentorship. And like Limor says, I'm part of the Power to Fly mentoring program. I'm also part of the Rotary Club mentorship program. And as you can see in the pictures, I also love animals, and I incorporated horses into my coaching practice about 5 years ago. Now, today's topic is about riding the roller coasters of life. For those of you who attended the previous chat, the whole idea was, how do we stay connected during the pandemic? And recently I read this line that riding the roller coaster of life, you can do it the way these people are doing it, or you can do it with ease and flexibility. So what I would like to do right now, I'm going to stop sharing, is for you to share on the chat or on the screen, since there is only 8 of us. You're welcome to unmute yourself and raise your hand and say that you would like to speak. How did you ride the roller coaster of the past 12 months? Because honestly, I think for many of us, the past 12 months have been more challenging than ever before. And it would be nice to know if you were hanging there, waiting for the whole ride to end fast, or if you managed to enjoy yourself along the way. Anybody would like to share something?
I'm happy. So just to kick us off. So I have been working from since the beginning of 2016, extremely remote. In that pandemic hasn't changed stuff for me. I know for many people it was very difficult.
Limor,
yeah,
is that you speaking? Is that you speaking? Because it looks like you're muted with your microphone, which is what it's a bit of a weird sound. Okay, that's better.
Do you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, so I will say again, I mean, I have been working exclusively from home since 2016. So in that aspect, the pandemic hasn't changed anything for me because I've been used to working from home. And so the only thing that changed, which is a big change, that everyone else joined. I mean, my kids, my husband, everyone else were at home. So I didn't have my own space. I mean, I think the year was obviously challenging, but there were some good things about it that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the quality time with my family, the time together. We spent a lot of time together, obviously, and we had opportunities that we never have usually. Having lunch together, you know, during the day when my kids have breaks from classes, you know, we were talking. So more engaging conversations during the day. The difficult part for me was, again, being at home with everyone. So I didn't have space. So occasionally I would just go outside. I felt suffocated. I said, and everything was closed. So there was nowhere else for me to go. And I'm an avid runner and I like going to the gym, and the gym was closed. So I said, okay, I'll just put my shoes and go run outside when I felt suffocated. But all in all, I felt it was, it was a good year for me. It wasn't bad. It was different. And hopefully this year, now that everything started to open up, will be even better.
That's a very optimist, somebody who managed to ride the whole thing with ease and flexibility. Now, I would like to hear, because if you don't mind, Charlotte, you mentioned that you are feeling at number 4 right now. Would you like to tell us if this is just temporary or this is the consequences of this situation? If she's going to be talking, not talking.
Hi, yeah. It's a pretty long, ongoing thing. I think the pandemic definitely worsened it. And it's just that feeling of isolation. I think that brings about feelings like that in people.
You don't hear very well.
Okay. Can you put your sound a little bit higher or louder?
Can you hear me?
A little bit louder.
Maybe my microphone's not working. I can say
That's better though. That's better.
Okay. I just said that it's more of a long standing thing over the last, that was made worse during last year, the pandemic. Yeah.
So if what would you like this session to bring to you today?
I'm not really sure. I don't have too many expectations of it, just finding a source of how to stay connected. Yeah.
Okay. What motivated you to join us today? Because I think this is your first time, correct?
It is, yeah. Well, I just, that feeling of isolation, and I saw the event and thought it would offer some advice for it, and just the act of being in an event with other people, that connects you itself. So
it's a very smart move, because this is one of the things that we discussed the previous time. One way to feel better during the pandemic is definitely to stay connected. And there is what I was doing, if I can doing this briefly to show you. Two things. There is staying connected to yourself and staying connected to others. Which brings me to my second question. How do those of you who managed to still feel good today, I'm assuming you managed to stay connected to yourself. If you will have some kind of positive experience to share, that would be nice to do that now. Anybody would like to say what they did or what they're doing? Heidi, go for it.
So it was a challenge in the beginning when the pandemic hit. I saw my students for the last time on March 7th or March 4th. And on March 6th, we had our first person in Indianapolis sick. And I had already been telling them on March 4th, I think you need to get ready for a lockdown. The good news was I'd started to take a course how to teach online already. So I was 3 months ahead of all the other faculty when the pandemic hit. And I'm still continuing on that kind of course.
I'm going to interrupt you 1 second. I'm assuming you're talking about teaching, Heidi. I don't think anybody else knows that.
Yeah, so I teach at a university. I teach at Butler University in the undergraduate and then in the graduate program, but I'm an adjunct, which means I'm a contract worker. So it means that I get paid a fixed contract to teach a course. I'm not full-time, none of the benefits, any of that. So when the pandemic hit, Butler said, hey, listen, we don't know what's going to happen. So we are going to just indefinitely put on hold contracts. We're not firing anybody, letting them go, but for now or for the indefinite future. Good news is I'm back on for this fall. But in the interim, I decided to work on myself. So I had signed up anyway. I had already been planning on signing up for a coaching course and took that and did a lot of self-care though, because I'm a huge extrovert, capital E.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. So for me to be cut off from the random talking to people, staying in, and I actually had a very strong fear of the disease. So I really did self-quarantine. Like I really did not go out. So staying connected on Zoom was good. And I did that, but I realized I had to do a lot more self-care, incorporate some meditation, sit in the sunshine, do some small things to keep me balanced. But I did find it harder to reach out to people like you talk about making the phone calls. I'm thinking, well, we can make phone calls, but I felt busier than ever because I was glued to Zoom all day. So I don't know if anybody else found that. But in general, I found like it was actually a good year for me to be productive.
Okay, we're going to get into that. Anybody else would like to share how they managed to stay connected, either to yourself or to others? We have Monica, who we haven't heard from. Monica, are you there? And where are you from? Okay, Monica doesn't seem to be hearing me. Maria, you want to share with us where you're calling us from and connecting, and if you have anything to contribute to this connecting to yourself? Can you speak or you cannot speak?
Kentucky.
Maria, can you speak from Kentucky? Can you? I have to say it's a challenge for me not to see anybody and not to hear anyone.
She has a microphone issue. I think we don't, Karin, I mean, let's not put people too much on the spot. I mean,
no, I'm just trying to involve everybody. So, and you don't have to.
Absolutely.
It's Francesco. Maria Francesco, do you want to speak?
Yes, can you hear me?
It's a guy. Nice.
Yes, I'm a guy.
Well, yes, I can see with a black screen, my friend.
Yes, I'm sorry. Right now I can't open my cam because I have to go in a few minutes. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're happy to have you. So tell us about you and what did you do so far?
Sure, next time. I am a teacher in Italy.
Okay.
A music teacher.
And how did you hear about Power to Fly events?
On Facebook. Interested in new technology and everything about digital.
Okay, so how you riding the roller coaster of life lately? Happily or not so happily?
Happily.
Okay, so how do you manage that?
Sorry, I don't hear so good your voice.
How do you manage to ride happily?
I will come back in short time. I'm sorry for now. I have to go right now.
Thank you for connecting.
Thank you. See you
soon. We're gonna ask Chantal, how is she has been handling connecting to herself and to others during the pandemic?
Actually very well, very well. I am very lucky to live in the countryside where I have space, nature. And I am retired, so I don't have the problem of going to or not going to my place of work. But I am extremely busy doing tutoring for all those young children who all of a sudden have to study online. So I have two young girls that I work with regularly. So one in French, one in English. So it's a real pleasure. And the drawback was that all the cultural associations that I belonged to were cancelled. So that is a big void. But I managed to fulfill that with reading, lots of reading, gardening, walking, and having a close interaction with my neighbors. My closest neighbors are an English couple, and we did Zoom, aperitif Zoom, as many people discovered. And now we do actual meeting outside and keeping distance, etc. But I live in an area where the density of population is very low. So we are privileged. I am privileged. So life is fine.
Okay. Thank you, Chantal. Now, Maria tells us on the chat that she actually stayed connected to coworkers through Zoom, Teams, and email. So I think for many of us, I have to say, a few decades ago, when I moved to New York City, we used to write letters. And phone calls were pretty much out of the way. And Heidi also, I'm sure, had some of those experiences, and Chantal too, which is, how do you relate? Now we take it for granted. We can just connect with people from around the world. And we can even, Chantal, when she had this nice garden party, when the neighbors are on one side of the fence and she's on the other side of the fence, I get pictures. So there is plenty of way to stay connected. And I think for many of us, it became kind of a very creative way. Now, what I was mentioning in my previous chat is for some people, especially either the very extroverted one, like Heidi, who kind of at some point feels that she cannot meet people, or even the introverted one, this situation threw them off balance. And I think one of the most important learning for many of us is the really crucial challenge of staying connected to ourselves and to others. And what we took for granted, or what we sometimes put on hold because we didn't have time, like Limor said, to go running or to going to the gym or to, take care of friends. I feel personally that this is being a really strong wake-up call, like the importance of balancing both. So some of you already mentioned this before. The best way to stay connected to yourself, or one of the best ways, is definitely staying in touch with nature, going running, meditating, doing something that rejuvenate yourself and kind of make you feel good. For some people, it's cooking, whatever it is that makes you feel good. And staying connected, that for some people became a big of a challenge. And one of the suggestions I made in the previous chat was to actually connect to 50 people in 1 week. And even Heidi is like, wow, how do you do that? And I had listened to one of those offers a while ago, and I have to say, very often, especially the busy people, we think of Heidi, like I said, I've met her 20-something years ago, Chantal 30-something years ago. I like them, but I don't always make the effort to stay in touch because, tomorrow. And I do believe that the pandemic was kind of a nice way to encourage us to reconnect with people that we do like and, would like to hear more from, but life did. So in some ways, doing this challenge and reconnecting, some people just said it was a wonderful opportunity to reconnect with friends or acquaintances. It takes a bit of an effort, but it works. So, and today it's about also checking on someone. Are you okay? Did you get, previously it was, did you get the virus? Now, luckily it's like, did you get vaccinated? That's the latest question, which I think is much more happy. So I'm guessing that, Limor, you're already vaccinated, right? Limor, you got your vaccine, correct?
Yes, I got it.
Both
like
of them?
I don't know. Yeah, like maybe 2 months ago or something like that.
The two of them?
Yeah.
Okay, Heidi's got vaccinated since March. Chantal got vaccinated also. Two of them, right? Leila, Lily, you.
I'm getting my second one tomorrow.
I can't hear anything. You don't know why? Checking now. Okay, she cannot hear. Sorry. And Lily,
Okay.
I don't know, Maria, Charlotte, with Francesco's things. If you want to put in the chat if you got vaccinated or not. Because like I said, this, at least it's a bit happier than did you get sick? And at least it's I just got my second shot today. Heidi got that. You have a lot of anti-vaxxers in Indianapolis?
This is the country of anti-vaxxers. So there are a large number of people in a particular political persuasion who believe that the vaccine that was done, well, let's put it this way, they read Facebook and QAnon and conspiracy theories. And so, you know, the government's going to kill them. So that they just, and these are people that have college degrees. It's not just people who don't. So yeah, it's a tough question to ask somebody. Even we have 30% of our medical professionals refuse to get a vaccine. That just doesn't make sense. But
if they don't get sick, that's okay. The challenge is, anyway, we're not going to go into this.
Yeah, we don't need to get into it, but it's part of our environment. That has been my biggest challenge, is before the pandemic, and it was also before a really tough election in the United States, tough meaning emotionally draining. Now I feel like I'm re-emerging from a chrysalis, and am I a butterfly? But what's the rest of the world? I now have seen things and how people have expressed themselves about topics that are really harsh, and I'm going to re-emerge, you know, and it's a whole new world from that perspective. Everybody was at home and they were expressing themselves. So for part of my self-care, was stepping back from that window on the world, you know, like on social media platforms, just so I don't need to see all of it. Anyway, that's what
wrote, that she's not vaccinated, you know, yet. Now, some of it, you know, it's maybe because of the age. That's the benefit of being a bit older. I got on the right. I'm getting my first shot next week because I managed to belong to the range of age that is kind of, Lily, you still seems to be hearing nothing, right? I'm going to just make sure. Lily, do you hear me? This is the thing. Lily, can you hear me? Can you hear? And she's in Prague, so she shouldn't have any problem. So yes, connecting to others, it's at the moment an interesting challenge. No, okay, well, I don't know how to help you, my friend.
Yeah, it's probably a technical issue at her side.
Yeah. So the other thing, believe it or not, that's something, I don't know why, but then I'm checking it. Okay. The other thing that's surprising is helping us to take care of ourselves, but believe it or not, is, can I do this? Yeah. I'm getting better with this. This has been the biggest surprise of the week for me. Because I want to bet something. How many of you are really busy in normal time and are super achiever in a normal time? Very productive and making sure that you do your best to have a full day and you check all the to-do list at the end of the day. Heidi. Okay. Maria and Charlotte and Monica, you want to share something? Do you feel like you're usually trying to be as productive as possible and making sure that you have everything on track? I used to be. Okay. So what happened to you, Charlotte, if you're not that productive or super achiever anymore? Okay, you're gonna get not sure what changed really. Okay. Now, can one of you might tell me what is the benefit of, and I'm going to use the word laziness for lack of a better word. Then we're going to tell you what actually laziness is. What is the benefit of what is the benefit of being a super achiever? Heidi.
So what's the benefit of being a super achiever? one might think it's going to assuage or it's going to calm down these anxieties. But my goal this year is to work on being less of a super achiever in a way. It's
we're
kind
gonna
of
get
tough.
there, Heidi. No, we're gonna get there, because actually Charlotte mentioned something interesting. She says success. So what is the benefit of super achiever or super busy or super active, or what is the benefit?
Success.
What else? Because, I mean, the success, if I may say something, when you're kind of super busy every day, you don't get success at the end of the day or every day.
I was raised that I had to accomplish something every day. So I am driven to accomplish. That's just an internal drive that's been baked into me for, during childhood of, what have you accomplished today? What have you done? What did you achieve? Yeah. Well,
we have Maria so I just need, because now that I think, so Maria, you are based in where? I know Charlotte is
Kentucky?
in the UK.
Kentucky?
Yes, she's Kentucky. Thank you. Okay. So we have UK and Kentucky, and Monica, I don't know where she is. Limo, I assume you're also pretty productive every day, imagining your schedule.
Yeah,
Plus 4 kids, if I recall correctly, right?
Yes, I have 4 kids. Yeah, I try to be as productive as I can. Take advantage of any minute. We have, me and my husband, a saying, and this is something that he was taught actually in the military. And it's hard to translate it. So I don't know if it sounds good in English. Every minute is an extreme minute in life. So basically every minute you can achieve so much. And we always joke about it, but we also take it very seriously. Sometimes it's all about 1 minute. 1 minute of finishing doing one thing and starting doing the next thing. So yeah, I would say I'm a quite productive person in general.
Okay, how many of you relate to that, if I understand correctly? Heidi, Maria, Charlotte thinks that she's not like this anymore. I don't know, and she doesn't know what changed it. I would have subscribed to that belief until the pandemic, to be honest. And for me, it has been really, just because I couldn't do it as much as I used to, because I couldn't go out. I mean, luckily, we were not officially locked down, okay? So I could step outside, I could go shopping. However, we don't have a store open since pretty much January. No hairdresser, no manicure. I mean, we have stores. We have essential stores. But, in order not to compete with the closed stores, even the Tesco stores had to close down all the clothing area, all the books area. Okay, granted, now they reopened the underwear area. But pretty much, so there is nothing to do, not the usual things to do. And the other thing that I will share with you, as I mentioned before, one of the area I'm expanding at the moment is working with horses and with animals. And the more I work with horses and animals, the more I realize that in order to really relate to an animal, what do you think is the first things to do? It's to be quiet. The only way you can relate, and then that led me to another area. Anybody has seen the movie Octopus? My Octopus Teacher on Netflix. They got an Oscar. They got an Oscar prize. Is it prize?
Award.
No, I haven't seen it.
Award. Thank you.
Octopus, you say?
Octopus Teacher.
My Octopus Teacher.
I actually have Netflix now, so hey, I'm putting it on the list.
And what's interesting is pretty much the friendship of a gentleman who lives in South Africa with an octopus. Now, I love animals. This kind of creature are not exactly on top of my list. However, it turns out that they also had done another movie about an animal communicator who used to be, by the way, an IT person in South Africa. And then when they asked her, how did you get started? She said, actually, I started by doing tracking. Anybody has ever heard of tracking? Tracking animals?
In what sense?
Well, pretty much following the steps in order to find the animals. And that led me to one and another, because the only way you can, the purpose of tracking is at some point to put yourself in the mind of the animals to know where that animals went. And you cannot do that unless you stay quiet. Oh, Lily can hear, congratulations. And when you actually see my octopus teacher, what I find fascinating, the gentleman who pretty much dives in order to go into the ocean, firstly, because he's depressed and he needs to do something. So he doesn't go there in order to find anything but just peace of mind. And when he mentioned that actually he was using the same tracking skill he did for the previous movie, my brain was like, so I will be happy to send you the 2 links, because the documentary on tracking animals is beautiful. And and the movie Octopus, my octopus, it's amazing how he can track the octopus in the ocean. The most important part of the story for what we're speaking about is unless you become quiet, you don't get the answers. And the benefit of what I call, because quiet is not, when you Google quiet, the things is being silent. Got nothing. It's better to not speak, but it's more about starting to be aware on your own body sensation, what's happening within you and what's happening in the environment. Feel the air, hear the sound. Actually, that's another thing that's happening now. I've never had so many birds in front of my window. And at night, when I wake up in the middle of the night, there is a concert outside of my window. And now I have a nest in front of my window, and I get big. I have actually a balcony and a net to protect, because I don't want my cat to jump. And I get big birds standing on top of the net. I've never had these things. That is only possible when you are quiet. And the benefit of quiet, for those of you who like to be creative, when you're busy, there is little room for innovation and creativity. Inspiration doesn't come during the busyness of the day. Limo, I don't want to rain on your parade, but if every second counts, there is little space for, the spark. Now,
So I want to say something. I want to share something with you.
Say something.
So many years ago, I had a manager. He always told us, when he wanted us to come with creative ideas, he said, go and think in the shower. This was his saying. Again, it's a translation. For me, thinking happens all the time, right? We think all day long, every minute. Creativity comes to me like when I'm running, usually running, sometimes in the shower, sometimes in the dreams, right? When I sleep. Obviously, I cannot be productive any minute of the day.
Listen, I'm just sharing with you what I've discovered, because when actually I went to see an osteopath because I got some also wrong, and it was she doesn't speak 2 words of English, and my Czech is still a bit shaky, and it was fascinating because she's also an osteopath that works with horses, and she took care of my cat. So I figured, okay, let's see if she can take care of me, but it's the same energy thing. And I like her. I like her energy. I like how she works with the animals. Exactly like this. She takes her time. The horse doesn't move so much, but the cat, trust me, my cat was like, I don't know who you are. Don't touch me. And she makes me laugh, because at the end of the hour session, she says, Karin, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to give you one exercise. You have to do nothing 1 hour per day. I was laughing. I was like, you don't understand. Compared to what I used to do, I do nothing. She said, no, nothing. And I have to be honest. It's hard.
So what does mean doing nothing? Is it like the picture you shared with Garfield on the couch? What is doing nothing? What does it mean to you?
That's what I'm saying. The idea is, it's really more about, that's what I will send you, the 2 links for the octopus and for the animal tracking, because for me, it makes sense in regard to nature and animals, just because I need something concrete. How many of you have an animal at home? I know Chantal has, okay. And then I don't know if I can check the chat. Heidi thinks. So ladies, if you have no pets, when you have an animal, it's a bit easier, because provided you want to you want to connect with your pets, you have to give them time. I mean, I have a cat. I never like cats, but that's another long story. And I've learned that when you ignore a cat, you know what a cat does when you ignore a cat? At least a few cats do that. They pee. And my cat started to pee in places I'm like, but you don't know if that counts for not doing nothing. What, taking care of the cat? Okay, guys, this is when I have a difficulty.
No, go ahead. Ignore my comment. Continue.
Okay,
continue.
Yeah, that's good. So the idea is not doing nothing in the laziness, and even though that's okay for some people, it's just really becoming quiet within yourself and be connected to your own sensation. The idea is to relax your mind as much as possible. You can do that through meditation with no apps. People say, well, I use an app to meditate. That's not the same because your brain still is activated. The idea is to really relax your mind as much as possible. Stay within yourself and connect to yourself and the environment on a very peaceful way. And the challenge is, yes, the brain thinks. Because even if you sit on a chair and you try to breathe and you say, okay, I'm going to enjoy a nice cup of tea, then your brain is like thinking, but that's already a good step. So the idea is, again, it depends what you put behind the word laziness. What I'm trying to share with you is that I've had a lot more ideas and a lot more inspiration by doing my best to really lower my activity. Now, running is one way. Walking is different, by the way, because running, you still have to pay attention to where you put your foot or you fall down. You trip. Walking, it's a bit harder to trip when you think. But because I have a girlfriend, she's an amazing sport lady. She hates to walk in nature. It's boring. There's nothing to do. And I'm like, okay. So the whole purpose is to start to get attuned with yourself, because then you can get attuned with others. At the end of the day, the more productive you are, sometimes the less you are able to connect with others. And when you speak about communication, then we go back to business and you speak about all the challenge that many of us have with other people, is because we have difficulties reading them, understanding them, and feeling their energy level at the moment we're interacting with them. Do I make any sense? Okay, it's getting quiet. The same as just being. It sounds like more like, you can talk, Heidi, because at least I see you. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, is getting quiet, like, because when I imagine it, and I know we've had these conversations in the past, and when I internalize it and feel that calmness and quietness, I sometimes associate that with just being. Like when I tell myself as a child, you can go outside and experience a place, like you're just sitting there in the park and you're seeing and you're aware, you're just being. And it is true that then creativity emerges. And so I wonder, is there a connection between that and are they similar, the same, or are there nuances?
Well, I have to be honest, I don't have an answer to all these questions, okay? No, because I mean, what I'm trying to say is that for everybody, it has to be your own experience. The quietness, I know Chantal walks with the dog, what, an hour and a half every day?
Yes, an hour and a half every day in the woods, on different paths, an hour and a half, yes.
And, I guess at some point, this becomes kind of a soothing activity.
A soothing activity and a necessity. For me, it's a necessity. If I miss a day, I don't feel well in my body, in my head as well. It's a necessity now.
Those of you who have access to the ocean, like Limor, you have access to the ocean?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you walk on the beach bare feet?
Yeah.
Because that could be, there is a difference between running on the side of the ocean and literally immersing yourself in the nature itself. The brain operates differently. Now, one is not better than the other, don't get me wrong. The whole idea is to experiment all of those different situations and see how you feel. Now, I mean, sport really releases a lot of stress. However, it doesn't bring the same kind of connectivity to yourself and others as being quiet for a while does. So I wanted to share with you because I've been actually even hearing an interesting program on this. You know, when people, the challenge also in business, we always think we need to do more. You know, you're supposed to do the dishes. Well, you know, like I always say as a joke, are you going to do it twice? So you're going to do it better? If you do the dishes correctly, that's it. They're clean. They go into whatever it is. Or the joke I used to ask at training is like, did you take a shower this morning? People look at me horrified. I say, well, I'm not asking if you're clean. I'm just asking, did you take 2 showers to make it 120% better? And instead of doing what we expected to do well, because the idea is to do it well, we think we have to do more. And the more we do and the more we produce, the more we get stressed. And that's the other thing. A lot of people get stressed because they don't know what the objective is on how they can just do their job and then do something else. And I think the pandemic is kind of reshifting the way we work. Now, unfortunately, for some people, it's a blessing because you can spend time with the family or the dogs. But for some people, they're on call 24 hours a day. And that's the challenge of having the computer at home, because you can pretty much be connected all the time if the job requires it, which is not required. So, you know, I don't think, oh, we have somebody else who's connecting today. See? So the whole idea of today's chat was to first, you know, check in with you and see how you were doing, how you're managing this unusual situation. Hopefully give you a chance to, you know, take a break and say, okay, how do we handle this? And where am I here? I'm going to see if I can screen. Yep. Well, so, yeah, I don't know if you're here, but I have a cat who says she wants to go out. So my question is for you, what will you do now that we're coming to hopefully the end, another shift of this pandemic? Many countries do happen to have the vaccine. So I'm hoping that by the summer, a lot of things will kind of evolve. Like, and I'm sure in Israel, everything is kind of almost back to normal, Limor.
Yeah, almost. I would say almost back to normal, yeah.
The question is, are you going to go back to a normal life?
It's a new kind of normal.
So the question is, I guess that would be the next chat. How do we create a new kind of normal, or the new normal? And my experience personally is that in many ways I look at this, it's being productive is really beneficial. And I still recommend that we remember from this time that taking some quiet time, doesn't matter how you do it. Anybody needs to choose what works for them. I can't tell you what I'm learning. However, for somebody who might be walking with the dog, somebody is going to be just, you know, sitting in a room quietly. Some people might meditate the morning and night, whatever it is, or doing a sauna or doing yoga, something that helps you connect and being aware of how you feel. Do I make any sense? Paying attention to your sensation. Very often we compensate stress with something else. And, you know, busyness is a very nice way to distract ourselves from our own issues. Can be busyness, can be food, can be cigarette, can be alcohol, but busyness is another one of those. We have Tonya, okay. So we have Tonya. Tonya, you just joined us. You want to tell us where you are from? Hello, hello.
Hello, Tanya.
Hi. Okay, I guess it's not, this is when I know it's challenging for me, but I don't know who I can talk to with this black screen. And also because we're coming now to the end of this session, right? I don't want to, what do we have here? 53.
Tanya, where are you from?
We have 7 minutes.
Hello,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm well, and I'm driving.
Okay.
But I am in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
ATL. Nice.
Thank you for joining us. Did you hear anything I just said, or you kind of just connecting?
Well, I did hear some of it. I did, and I was thinking through what you were saying around mindfulness and the importance of mindfulness and engaging in ways to do some self-care during the process. That's what I heard.
Okay, is that something that you're familiar with, or and that I'm assuming practice on a regular basis?
It is. It is a part of my practice, just to take a break. Probably not as often as I should, but
well, the idea is not to blame ourselves. I don't know what we should do. My recommendation will be to do what feels right for you. And that's the idea of listening to your own sensation. You know, all of this it's pretty intangible, so it's hard to say this is right and this is wrong. I can share with you one thing that I've learned recently. Whenever you're doing something and you feel that your body is expanding, you're on the right track. And every time you feel that your body is, I think you said it in English, constrained, rétrécir. Heidi, how do you say rétrécir?
Contracting.
Contracting, then something is not working well. And when I was reading this, I'm like, because I'm pretty practical and physical. So when you interact with someone and you feel like you really feel good about, and your body is expanding, the communication is going right, or the connection is going right, and you feel that you're in synchronicity. You might not agree with the person, however, there is still kind of a nice flow of energy. The minute your body inside is contracting, chances are that whatever is happening is pushing your buttons. And that's what I'm talking about, being attuned with what's happening within you. It's not intellectual. It's not, well, I don't like your haircut, or I don't like the way you talk to me. This is part of, the brain judging. When you let your body react, you will have a pretty much honest feedback of what's happening to you. Do I make any sense?
That's good.
And it doesn't have to be complicated, which is why, like I said, when I was hearing about this laziness principle, which, because it makes people laugh, okay? But it's not about being lazy. It is about taking some quiet time to reconnect with you and with the environment as much as possible. It's like when you throw some stone into a pond. Well, you need time for the whole, whatever it is that it's in the water, to settle in the bottom of the pond, and then you can see through it. The more you throw stones and the more you get the whole water busy, the less you can see through it. So for you to be able to see through your busy mind, my recommendation is to really, really find some quiet time. Anywhere and shape you want. If it's just to take a cup of tea in your living room or coffee and just for 10 minutes breathe, that's okay. So my question to you is, make a little bit of a wish. I don't talk about plan of how you could give yourself some quiet time on a daily basis. Does that make any sense?
I thought maybe for the overachieving group that they might want to just schedule in that time to have some quiet time so that they know that they're going to give it to themselves.
That's a good way when you're definitely on a schedule. No, I totally agree. Now, at the same time, if, again, it depends on the schedule, but I realize, like I said, I use my cat because, every time my cat wants something, I'm like, I'm too busy. And then I'm like, how about if I take 5 minutes to just be with her? So in this case, she's teaching me to just do nothing, which is not exactly nothing, but for 5 minutes, provided I don't have a Zoom call or something. That's if you don't have your schedule, packed every hour, which is also why some meeting can be scheduled only for 50 minutes. I mean, I used to take golf lesson and my teacher was taking only lesson for 50 minutes. to then she had 10 minutes to take coffee. A lot of therapists take only people for 45 minutes. So they have 15 minutes buffer. So that's another way, if you want to find yourself some little time off, is to schedule meetings that give you at least 5 or 10 minutes breather between every meeting. That's when it's possible. Any trick works as long as you get what you need and what you want. Everybody's okay with that? Anybody would like to ask a question before we...
I'm wondering, Karin, how many people have been, I heard Limor say that she has been working from home even prior to the pandemic, and I did sort of a hybrid. I'm wondering how many people are going to have been working from home and who intend to incorporate that in their future self.
It's a very good question. Those lady on the black screen, you want to put something on the, I mean, I know for me, I've been working a little bit, from home, just because my clients are not in, when they're not in Prague. So in this case, it's kind of increasing a little bit the connection because it's easier and easier to meet. You know, most people that didn't want to meet the coach online, now they're very happy to meet the coach online. So in that sense, I have more clients online than I used to have just because they're discovering the benefit. Now, having said this, the more I work with animals, the more I realize that they're going to be a huge need. And I already have people say, when is your next horse event? I want to get out of the house and I want to get in nature. So Maria, I've been working from home since March 2020. My employers has, yes, but I mean, the question that Heidi said, Charlotte, are you going to go back? Are you going to stay online or are you going to go back to a physical office? Okay, I don't know. But more online working now. So yes, so I guess some of it is going to be depending on how the whole thing evolves. But you're right. For some people, it's a blessing, because then they can have a more flexible schedule. For some people, it's nonstop, and it's especially when you have kids at home. That may be a bit more difficult. Ladies, I think we're coming to, for me, physical office. Lily definitely wants a physical office when she can. So what I would like to tell you is that, you know, these last 12 months, I'm guessing for everybody, is being full of ups and downs, twists and turns. And for some people, it's been really, really difficult. And for those of you who are still struggling, I really wish you're going to be able to bounce back on your feet, because I can imagine how challenging it is to be in this uncertain, scary time. For some people, it's been definitely a chance to learn something else, to reach out and get new activities. What I would like to recommend is either way, but stay at home or kind of go back to the office something. The lesson for me is to really learn to save some quiet time on a regular basis in order to nurture who I am and what I really want to be. And I wanted to share that with you because I figured, you know, some of what I've been sharing, it's like, I wish I knew this 10, 20 years ago. I used to live in New York City and being efficient and proactive. And when I tell people I'm not half as active as I used to be, they don't believe me. So obviously I must still project some kind of active, you know, persona, but it's nowhere as much as it used to be. And I still, you know, do actually in many ways, I do more, giving myself more quiet time than when I was busy, because I didn't get the chance to digest what I was doing and then reset. So we're on a reset, what is it? Reset, reboot? What is the phrase, Limo? Is reset and reboot and recharge something.
No, I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, there are plenty of new ways of resetting.
But anyway, we are kind of after the
yes, we have to.
Time,
so ladies,
so we have to wrap up.
Thank you very much. We will send you a follow-up email. I will send you the PowerPoint if you like. And if you have any question, you're more than welcome to reach out to Limo or to me for follow-up. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you so much.
I wish you a good rest of the day or the night.